I made it back to my home, which was right next to the cemetery. It was a private estate that was also owned by my family, the Chisley family. I flung the large double doors open and walked into the foyer. My wife was still calling me. I shut the doors immediately and locked them. Through the window I could see that she was still standing there under the entrance to the cemetery. My mind raced as I tried to find a place to hide. The stairs to the second floor were just halfway down the hall. Something seemed off, though. At the other end of the hall from the foyer was a small black blob that was neither shadow nor illusion. It looked as if it was made out of pure darkness. As I watched it, the blob began to grow. It did this until it enveloped the entirety of the space it occupied. It was then apparent that the blob was getting closer. I rushed to the stairs as the mysterious mass engulfed all of the furniture it came across. It continued to follow me up to the balcony, where I entered through another set of doors. As I entered the room, I could see a mobile hospital bed in the corner. There was a large empty IV bag hanging from a rack beside it, which swayed back and forth. The bed was empty, however, from the wrinkles in sheets, I could tell someone had just been in it. I couldn't understand why this was here. I never had this in my house. Before I could think about it further, however, I noticed something outside the window. I pressed my hands against the glass as I watched the blob lurking outside. It was almost as if it was searching for me. I looked back at the gate again and saw that my wife, or what I presumed to be my wife, was still standing there. She stared at me intently through the thinned-out fog. Was she the one who created the blob? Did she want it to lure me back to her? There was no way of knowing for sure. I just had to pray that this shadowy mass would not follow me. That's when I noticed the double doors behind me getting darker. Before I could react, the blob began to engulf me. I was now inside of the blob. My heart would not slow down as I realized that there was darkness in all directions. My limbs began to feel cold and stiff. I tried to touch my face to feel how cold it was, but my hands were numb. Then my throat began to dry, like it was nothing more than a hollowed-out tree. I couldn't even scream. It was like my body was shutting down organ by organ. My head began to get heavy as it drooped down slowly. My arms followed as they sank down with my torso. The feeling was indescribable. It was as if I was fading away, like I never existed. This insurmountable fear was enough to push my legs forward. I smashed through the window I had leaned against and was sent plummeting to the ground below.